This is Dr. Red Panda.
Why were the ancient Greeks so keen on homosexuality? Why did they believe that same-sex love was true love? Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Red Panda, and today we're going to take a closer look at the homosexual relationships of the ancient Greeks. The love between a mature man and a beautiful youth. In ancient Greece, same-sex couples typically consisted of a mature man and a younger boy. The mature man would do his best to impart his knowledge and skills to the boy, while also offering him protection. In return, the boy would repay him with youth and loyalty. In literary works, the active, older partner was often referred to as the lover or the dominant partner, while the younger, passive partner was called the beloved or the submissive partner. Athens and Sparta were the two most famous city-states in the ancient Greek world, and they were also hotspots of homosexual culture. In Athens, same-sex lovers could even become national icons. For example, take the famous pair Aristogiton and Harmodius, who became national heroes after assassinating Hipparchus in 514 BCE. Hipparchus had tried to separate them, and in response, the Athenians celebrated them for their actions. The famous Athenian politician Solon even passed a law forbidding slaves from engaging in homosexual relationships, as he believed such relationships were too noble and could only be reserved for esteemed Athenian citizens. In Sparta, which was known for its martial culture, homosexuality was even more common. It was almost a rite of passage for every Spartan boy to engage in relationships with older men. If a boy reached a certain age and still hadn't formed such a bond, people would mock him for lacking charm, much like how people today might tease someone for not getting married when they are of age. So, the legendary 300 Spartans might very well have been the 300 gay Spartans. On a side note, Spartan men grew their hair long once they reached adulthood, believing that long hair symbolized masculinity. According to the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, Spartan warriors would comb their hair before battle, as though their hairstyle was just as important as their lives. So, the image of Sparta you might have in your mind could look one way, but in reality it might have been quite different. The love described in the Symposium. To get back to the point, homosexuality in ancient Greece wasn't limited to relationships between mature men and boys. It also existed between adult men and between women. For example, in Greek mythology, the famous companions Achilles and Patroclus were an adult same-sex couple. Many ancient Greek literary works depict their undying love, with the most famous being the Iliad by Homer. As for female homosexuality, a prime example is the renowned Greek poet Sappho, who lived on the island of Lesbos. It's from her island that the term lesbian originated. However, love between adult men or between women was less common and less frequently documented. Therefore, when people refer to Greek love, they are usually talking about the more widespread relationships between mature men and younger boys. But what exactly was this kind of love like, and how should we understand it? This is where we turn to a philosophical classic, the Symposium. The Symposium is a representative work of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, and the concept of Platonic love originates from this text. In a certain sense, this work can be considered the source of spiritual love. Written around 375 to 385 BCE, it narrates an event that took place in 416 BCE in Athens. A banquet held at the home of the renowned playwright Agathon to celebrate his victory in a dramatic competition. The guests included the philosopher Socrates, the comic playwright Aristophanes, the physician Eryximachus, Agathon's close friend Pausanias, the beautiful youth Phaedrus, and the politician Alcibiades, who joined later. Clearly, the attendees were prominent figures of Athenian high society. Gathered together, this group naturally engaged in some sophisticated and refined entertainment. Following the physician's suggestion, they decided to take turns delivering speeches in praise of Eros, the god of love, while drinking wine. The Symposium consists of these speeches and dialogues, reflecting the various perspectives on love held by these Athenian elites. Although their views on love differ, they share one highly unified belief. Heterosexual relationships are solely for reproduction, while homosexual relationships represent true love. The first to speak was the beautiful youth Phaedrus, who extolled the love between same-sex partners, asserting that such true love is the ultimate source of all human happiness. Phaedrus believed that if an entire army were composed of same-sex lovers, it would be invincible, for even the most cowardly person would become a hero in the face of love, preferring to die rather than shame their beloved, and choosing to sacrifice themselves rather than abandon their partner. Phaedrus's remarks evoke the legend of the sacred band of Thebes. Thebes was a city-state in ancient Greece, and the sacred band was an elite unit made up of 150 pairs of same-sex lovers. It is said that this force of only 300 men had the fighting prowess of tens of thousands and famously defeated the formidable Spartans at the Battle of Leuctra, remaining undefeated until they were annihilated by Alexander the Great's Macedonian cavalry in 338 BCE. Allegedly, the fallen of the sacred band died leaning against one another, with none betraying their partner. Following Phaedrus, the host Agathon's friend Pausanias spoke. He argued that while true love exists only between same-sex partners, not all same-sex love qualifies as true love, as some, like heterosexual love, may simply be physical attraction. For instance, Pausanias asserted that infatuation with children is base, and that love for the body is vulgar. True love, he contended, is love for the soul. Thus, he proposed that the city-state should legislate against pederasty and encourage the pursuit of noble, authentic love. The next speaker is Eryximachus. As a physician, he presents his views from a health perspective. He argues that one important reason we advocate for noble love is that base love can lead to promiscuous habits, which can ultimately harm one's health. In simpler terms, while occasional sexual encounters can be enjoyable, too many can lead to moral decay and physical deterioration. Following him, the next speaker is Aristophanes. This comic master shares a mythological story. He explains that originally humans had 3 genders. Each person had 2 heads, 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 sets of reproductive organs. Those with 2 male reproductive organs were men, those with 2 female reproductive organs were women, and those with 1 of each were androgynous individuals. However, because these original humans were so powerful that even the gods could not contain them, Zeus decided to split them all in half with a thunderbolt. From that point on, humans became beings with 1 head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 set of reproductive organs. Aristophanes believes this is why we humans are always seeking partners. Each of us is incomplete. Those originally split from males seek male companions, those from females seek female companions, and those from androgynous beings seek partners of the opposite sex. Through this story, Aristophanes affirms that sexual orientation is innate, and that both homosexual and heterosexual relationships are normal. Having such an understanding 2,400 years ago is truly remarkable. However, Aristophanes does not specifically define what true love is. He merely states that true love is directed towards a specific, destined partner, brings immense joy and happiness, and is unwavering until death. Yet, true love is extremely rare, with only a few individuals ever experiencing it. Thus, it is certainly not the ordinary, worldly love we commonly see. Next, Agathon, the host of the banquet, and Socrates, the main character of the symposium, each deliver their speeches. Agathon attributes all beautiful qualities to love, but Socrates mocks this idea. He argues that if one fully possesses wisdom, they would no longer desire it. Conversely, if one is completely ignorant, they would also not seek wisdom, as they wouldn't even recognize their ignorance. Therefore, love actually arises from the tension between lack and abundance. In Socrates' view, true love is a love for wisdom and virtue, rather than for a specific individual. A young man may fall in love with a mature man because he sees in him the wisdom and virtues he aspires to possess. Coincidentally, just as Socrates finishes speaking, Alcibiades arrives uninvited and joins the banquet. After settling in, Alcibiades delivers a speech, but instead of praising the god of love, he extols Socrates himself. Alcibiades is a well-known Athenian politician and a strikingly handsome man, yet he has fallen in love with the physically unattractive Socrates, captivated by his wisdom and bravery. To become Socrates' lover, Alcibiades even stripped off his clothes in the cold and climbed into Socrates' bed, hoping for an intimate encounter. However, Socrates remained unmoved, and nothing happened throughout the night. On one hand, Alcibiades felt somewhat humiliated, embarrassed, and angry. On the other hand, he was profoundly impressed by Socrates' rationality. Thus, he delivers the speech in praise of Socrates. This summarizes the story of Plato's The Symposium. The perspectives on love presented in the text reflect what is known as Platonic love. The highest form of love, Platonic love. Platonic love, in simple terms, is the love that arises from a connection based on virtue, leading to a soulful companionship. From Phaedra's speech, we learn that this kind of love inspires selfless acts and helps individuals become better people. Pausanias indicates that this love centers on the soul rather than the body. Eryximachus explains that those who share this love exercise restraint regarding their desires. Aristophanes reveals that the beloved in such a relationship is destined and unique, bringing immense happiness to both partners. Alcibiades adds that this love possesses a sense of possessiveness, extending from the soul to the body. Platonic love is fundamentally different from common love. While common love is driven by sexual desire, essentially contingent on the possibility of sexual relations, Platonic love is inspired by a longing for beauty and wisdom, grounded in the possession of virtue. Because common love is fueled by sexual desire, it can involve multiple partners throughout one's life. In contrast, Platonic love is singular and fateful. Many people may go their entire lives without finding their soulmate, but if they do, it is a lifelong bond. So how can one find their soulmate? Perhaps, as Socrates suggests, one should continuously seek beauty and wisdom. In doing so, even if one never encounters their soulmate, they can still unite with wisdom in their pursuit, giving birth to the offspring of wisdom. Just as philosophers like Socrates and Plato generated great philosophical ideas through their inquiries, we too can create something meaningful in our pursuit of knowledge and virtue. And that's a wrap for this episode of the video. I'm Dr. Red Panda. If any of you have your own perspectives, or if you think there are any errors in the video, feel free to leave a comment in the discussion section. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Until next time, take care.